Greetings, travelers of the World Wide Web. My name is Ben from Meteor Sounds, and in this video I'm going to demonstrate the basics of Meteor Loops, the loop-making app for music makers to expand their loop library with ease. Let's start by talking about the 4 pages of the app that you can navigate with the tabs at the top of the screen. Page 1 is for recording or importing sounds that can be edited and used in your loops. Page 2 is for sequencing, mixing, and exporting your loops. Page 3 is for applying effects to your loops, and page 4 is for settings and file access. On page 1, there are 8 drum pads that you can record or load sounds on. To record, start by tapping the record toggle button on the right side of the screen, which sets the drum pads to record mode. The next time you touch a drum pad, it will start recording and it will stop when you let go. After you record a sound, record mode automatically turns off and you can play back the sound you just recorded. If you don't do anything to your recorded sounds, the app will automatically crop them when you travel to page 2. And if you're recording percussive sounds, this is perfect. But let's say you want to grab a specific part of your sound. No problem. Tap the edit button to turn on edit mode, and then tap a beat pad to open up the edit window. Drag the sliders to set the start and stop points of each sample, and you're set. In the edit window, there's also a one-shot mode for each sample, which means that the entirety of the sample will be played when you tap the drum pad or when a MIDI note is played on page 2. When you're ready to start fresh with your sounds, just tap the clear button to delete all of your samples. Don't worry, they'll live forever in our hearts. On page 2, there is an 8-track grid sequencer loaded with your 8 sounds from page 1. To start sequencing, tap a cell in the sequencer to create a note. Tapping the cell again will delete the note. While you're sequencing, remember that you can't go wrong. It's all locked to the grid, so go wild and don't think too hard about the notes. You can also clear the whole sequencer with the clear button in the middle of the screen. To play your sequence, tap the start button and stop it by tapping the button again. You can turn the metronome on and off with the metro button. What if you didn't record your sounds at the perfect volume on the first page, you might ask? Press the mix button to turn each row of the sequencer into volume sliders to mix your tracks. Tap the button again to get back to the sequencer. The BPM can be adjusted with the stepper in the center of the screen just above the other buttons. Once you've sequenced, mixed, and processed your loop to your liking, you can tap the export button on the left side of the screen, name your file, and press OK. The app will export an audio file of your loop that will be stored in the app's file system and will be accessible on page 4. Page 3 is made up of 6 audio effects that you can mix into your loop and tune to your liking. The 2 sliders in each row are for the same effect. The one on the left generally controls the amount of the effect, and the one on the right controls a parameter of the effect. To start, turn on the effects with the effects toggle button in the top left. The first effect is pitch shift with shift amount on the left and mix on the right. The second effect is bit crush with mix on the left and bit depth on the right. The third effect is a flanger with mix on the left and feedback on the right. The fourth effect is delay with mix on the left and delay time on the right. The fifth effect is a low pass filter with cutoff on the left and resonance on the right. And the last effect is a 16th note gate with mix on the left and width of the gate on the right. Whew. You can reset the effects with the reset button in the top right to return to your untouched sounds. The 4th page is where you will adjust the app settings and access your exported loops. The My Loops button will open up a window for you to scroll through all of your exported loops. Tap any of the files on the table to select and listen to the loop, and then just tap the green share button to share your file. Now you can send your loop anywhere you want. Just hit the red close button to stop loop playback and exit the My Loops window. Just below that, the tutorial button takes you to the tutorial page of meteorsounds.com. And the slider below that, what do you know, it controls the metronome volume. Remember that time when you were watching this video and I said you can import audio files onto the drum pads on page 1? Well, this input method switch controls how you get audio files onto the beat pads, which is either through recording files with your device microphone or importing files from your device's file system. If you switch this from mic to file and go back to page 1, the record toggle button switches to an import toggle button. And now when you tap on a beat pad, it will open up your phone's file system. From here, just tap an audio file that you want to import, and it will be assigned to the beat pad. Heading back to page 4, you can adjust the buffer size to optimize latency while recording with the buffer size switch. Just below that, you can toggle hold to record mode. On page 1 by default, you have to hold a drum pad down during the recording process, but by switching hold to record to the off position, you can just tap the drum pad to start recording and tap it again to stop. This allows you to record hands-free, which is pretty handy for recording instruments. Unless, of course, you play the coolest instrument of all time and you don't need this. Right below that, the sample rate of the app will be displayed so you know the sample rate of your exported loops. Well, folks, that concludes the tutorial. Thank you for venturing to my little corner of the internet, and happy web surfing today. I hear the waves are quite nice. Please feel free to send any comments or questions through the contact page on meteorsounds.com/contact. And have fun making loops.